Welcome back, and this time it's time to complete the trifecta of recent dinosaur discoveries at or near Lightning Ridge in New South Wales, Australia. We've already seen Forstoria dimbungunmal and Weewarrasaurus pobeni in previous videos. Both of those were relatively harmless herbivorous dinosaurs. This time it's time to bring out the big guns, and we're going to check out Lightning Claw, a massive Megaraptorid with knives for fingers.
He's been called Lightning Claw because of the size of these claws on the forelimbs. The claws are enormous.
I spoke with Dr. Elizabeth Smith at the Australian Opal Centre in Lightning Ridge, who showed me some of the amazing opalised fossil pieces of Lightning Claw.
This is a metatarsal, which is the long bone from the foot of Australia's biggest theropod dinosaur, big carnivorous dinosaur, called Lightning Claw. This material, discovered at Carter's Rush, nearly 20 years ago now. Rob and Debbie Brogan, who were opal mining out at the Cochrane, donated them. We knew immediately it was something important. A number of people looked at them. Most of the work was done by Phil Bell at University of New England.
I spoke with Dr. Phil Bell from UNE, and I asked for a bit of a biography of Lightning Claw.
Lightning Claw was a Megaraptorid dinosaur. Megaraptor means giant thief. And these animals are relatively common in South America. There's several reasonably complete skeletons that we have a decent understanding of their shape and size. Lightning Claw itself is a close relative of Australovenator, which comes from central Queensland around Winton. Australovenator is one of the best known dinosaurs from Australia, and almost certainly one of the more complete dinosaurs we have as well. So we were quite fortunate in having a number of bones of Lightning Claw that we can directly compare both with Australovenator and with other Megaraptorids from South America. So we can get a reasonably good idea of what this animal looked like. So Lightning Claw was a large predatory dinosaur, was probably in the vicinity of 6 or 7 metres in length. The claws on it were close to 30 centimetres in length. But their skulls and jaws were actually quite delicately built. So unlike things like Tyrannosaurus rex, which has a very powerful skull and dinky little arms, these animals were using their hands and probably their feet to do a lot of the dirty work, whereas the jaws were simply for slicing meat and eating.
This is the metatarsal, the long bone from the foot. It's situated here, in the dinosaur, but you can see there's a lot of claw, there's a lot of toe bones and claw in front of that, and then there's tibia, fibula and femur, and the hip is right up there, and so this dinosaur would have been 3 metres high at the hip, and it would have filled this room. All in all, a fairly impressive animal.
So we're looking at the claw of Lightning Claw. You'll notice immediately that it's big. But this is only about a third of the size that it would have been. We're missing most of the rest of the claw, which would have made it close to 30 centimetres in length. This surface here is the knuckle joint. So it's very distinctive, deep ridge in the centre of it. Part of the defining feature of this group of animals is Megaraptorids, so these giant claws, very squashed from side to side, but very, very big. You can also make out, if you squint, this kind of groove down in the depths of the bone here, partially preserved on the other side as well. These grooves would have extended all the way down the claw, and you would have a single blood vessel extending along this groove, and that would have fed the keratin sheath, essentially the fingernail of this claw. If you have a pet budgie or a galah or something like that, you can actually see that same blood vessel, that same groove in the claws of it. So you can get an idea of the biology, the living animal, from looking at this and comparing it with animals around today.
And if you look closely at the reconstruction by Julius Chatonny, who's a Canadian paleo artist, you'll see that he's drawn Lightning Claw with a soft sort of pelt of feather-like structures. because indications are these days, following a lot of new discoveries and a lot of new research, that possibly lots and lots of groups of dinosaurs were feathered in some way.
We now know that most theropod dinosaurs, carnivorous dinosaurs, actually had some kind of feathery covering. And this is based on evidence principally from China, but also from North America and elsewhere, that preserve in beautiful detail feathers and feather-like structures on these animals. Perfectly preserved skeletons covered from head to toe in feathers. So it's a very different picture to what we had in our childhood dinosaur books, of these scaly reptiles. Most of these things that do appear to have had some kind of feathery covering. So there's no reason that our Australian dinosaurs wouldn't have had these kind of coverings as well. We don't have the direct evidence, but we know that the relatives of all of these animals did bear feathers.
So at this point you might be thinking that lightning claw doesn't really sound like the name of a dinosaur. Shouldn't it be lightning clawosaurus or something? Well, you're right. Unlike Fostoria dimbangumal and Weewarrasaurus pobeni, lightning claw is just a nickname for this specific set of fossils, this one creature that died 110 million years ago. It's not yet the name for an entirely new species, but the paleontologists are constantly working towards that goal.
Because there's not quite enough bones, not quite enough material to give him a proper scientific name.
When we started looking at the bones of lightning claw, we have part of the forearm, the claw, one of the bones of the foot, called the metatarsal, a number of other things, all of which were distinctive enough to identify it as belonging to this group of animals, the Megaraptorids. When we look closely at the details of those bones, there are distinct differences between this animal and other Megaraptorids, things like Australovenator from Queensland. So those distinguishing features are what we would normally use to suggest that this is a new species. In my mind, this is another new species from Lightning Ridge, but as yet awaiting a name. Whether or not it will get another name, I don't know. Hopefully we'll get new and better specimens in the future that will help clinch that deal.
But he's in fact the largest carnivorous dinosaur ever found in Australia, and he lives at Lightning Ridge. His metatarsal resides in that cabinet over there, and it's a pretty exciting find, really important discovery, and what's more, the bones are opalised.
This video was made with the support and participation of the Australian Opal Centre in Lightning Ridge, and all of the interview segments that you just saw were filmed before the world went crazy, so no social distancing rules have been violated. Special thanks to Dr. Elizabeth Smith from the AOC and Dr. Phil Bell from UNE for helping out with this video. If you would like to see Lightning Claw's opalised claw and foot bones for yourself, you should visit the Australian Opal Centre's showroom in Lightning Ridge, and if you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing to IDU Curiosity on YouTube and following along on all of the usual social media platforms. The links are in the description. Please stay safe and look after one another. And thank you for watching.